Celtic stream. My name is Gavin. I'm here with Damo. How's things, Damo?
Not too bad yourself, bud.
That's good after we win on the weekend and no lose.
You can't beat it any time the Huns lose.
I tell you, the one thing is, it's been like, it's just been hanging over our heads since the 29th. Obviously, we surrendered having the lead, like obviously we played an extra game, but that wasn't giving anyone any solace. Now that we've got it not just back in our own hands, like if we win the derbies, but we are mathematically, we are the boys, we are on top, and they are chasing. It's the weight of the world off my shoulders.
Yeah, 100%. Like as I said, like I was watching it yesterday. That's the first time I've ever watched a whole 90 minutes of a Hun game in my entire life.
I must say I'm a little bit more obsessed. I've done a few. I was on YouTube for 30 minutes, and then there were like 4,500 of us on it, and it got ripped down. And after that, I searched high and low to get myself another one. I was working at the time, so I only had my phone. But I missed it, so I put the phone away. I actually went and put it in my bag. I don't want any access, don't want any vibrations, don't want to know. And wait until 10 minutes after the game was finished, come in, pulled it out. There on my phone, it's got all sorts of notifications. Everyone's jumping up and down. It's like, oh, you wee dancer. Just such.
I couldn't believe it. I was a bit. And the fact that Liam Boycey was the one that scored, and he's from the Falls Road in Belfast.
Oh, couldn't make it up, could you? Cliftonville boy.
No, you couldn't. A Cliftonville player too.
Yeah. It's just wondrous. Anyway, we've got plenty to talk about. We've been missing for a while, so it's great to be back on.
It's always great to be back out with the boys.
Yeah, well, we've got to start doing this far more regularly, but we'll get to that later. Today we've got 10 points, so we'll get among them. Point one, we're going to be talking about Celtic's 3-0 win first and foremost. Griffiths back among the goals. Kris Boyd, an absolute bellend, and that's putting it politely. Edouard now has 20 goals. How many will he score? And a little sub point, we've heard that Monaco are allegedly interested in him, and that story seems to have been rubbished.
I've already looked into that one already this morning.
Yeah, look, we'll get into it in depth, mate. But believe me, the SMSM, they're digging up whatever the hell they can to try and get him off our books. You know yourself. Number 5, Klimala we'll just go with Polish Paddy and Soro. Do we need more signings? Alfy, Free, Sevco, Mints. We'll have a good old giggle about that for a while. Hearts give us control in the title race. Will the Zombies buy or sell? Can they? And the next 10 days ahead for both of us, the leagues won and lost in these sorts of periods. It's a logjam of fixtures. We'll go through both ours and the Newcos. And number 10, just for a bit of fun, Slippy is a choker. So, and he's admitted to blinking. At the end of the day, now is the time to turn the knife and to secure 9 in a row. But we'll get on to point one, and it's Celtic's 3-0 win. For the first hour, I wouldn't say Celtic laboured. Obviously, we had the penalty and the like, and it was good to see Calmac put one away. But we did look like we were missing the killer edge. When Edouard came on, obviously, we just looked another class.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think Ross County were actually all over us for the first 45 minutes. To be quite honest, they had like 5 or 6 decent attempts at goal, but they just didn't have the firepower to put them away.
Absolutely true. They were the one thing about County which really, really surprised me is how much football they actually played. They played out from the back. They were stringing 10, 12, 15 passes together. We had no press to them. And it was almost like we came out there expecting them just to sit in for 90 minutes, give us the odds. And, St Mirren actually play a good game of football, even though we beat them last time as well. But just those decks of defence, just trying 6-7 behind the ball, no striker. As it was, they played a really good formation. They had great shape. And they played the ball in the deck. When they did go long, they were getting in behind with a frightening amount of frequency.
Yeah, they played really well. Like for a Ross County team that normally, they don't show up. But they've started to improve this season in leaps and bounds. I honestly think, and I've seen them in other games too. They've actually got some decent players on the squad.
Yeah, I thought that Mullen was he looked like a very exciting player. Again, like you were saying, though, just short on their finishing, but God, they had plenty of chances.
They were stringing passes together like really well, so they were, and they were putting pressure on Celtic. Like as I said, like the first 45 minutes that I watched, it looked like, you know, if they had firepower up there, they could have banged in like two or three goals easily because they had the opportunity.
It was actually what they were saying as well on Celtic TV. Paul Cuddihy and Tom Boyd, they were saying, you know, like it's amazing that only one goal was scored. Now, the one thing was obviously Griffiths started the match. I thought he played very well. Obviously, in the last couple of games, he's got on the score sheet. He worked well without getting the goal on the weekend. But for mine, we looked a lot better when we were playing both Griffiths and Edouard like we did earlier in the week.
Well, it's like I said to you the last time we fought it. I said that as soon as we go to a 4-4-2 formation or get two strikers up front, I said things will start to change and more goals will get banged in. And lo and behold, it's happened.
Yeah. Oh, look, mate. I think at the end of the day, we're really missing Frimpong. The one thing is that kid is just lightning. Like Moritz Bauer played well, but at the end of the day, having Frimpong, he just adds so much to the team on the flanks. If we're not going to have Frimpong in the team, does that affect the decision to go with a 3-5-2? Or, you know, obviously with Frimpong, he's basically playing, well, he's playing as a wing back. He's almost a winger. He's that far forward all the time. I can't wait to see the wee boy back on the pitch. I was ripping my hair out, what little I've got left. What I've got left that ain't grey.
The tackle at Kilmarnock was disgraceful. It was no attempt on the ball or nothing. It was a straight like hatchet fucking job. So it was.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you put it this way: imagine a Celtic player coming in with a tackle like that. Like the card would be the red card would be out before the friggin' player's head had hit the floor. You know what I mean?
I'll guarantee you the old good Freemasons would have given us a red card and probably a 4-game suspension, maybe 5-game suspension.
Oh, mate, if it was Ryan Christie, he'd be back next year. Like, you know, and this is one thing. We can probably get into this just quickly. How the hell does Ryan Christie get a 3-game ban for grabbing friggin' Morelos' package for 5 seconds? Yeah, or 5 seconds for a blink of an eye. No one even saw it. It wasn't even a foul. I will retrospectively send him down for 3. Alfy makes cutthroat gestures to the away end, and what happens? It's nothing. It's just a bit of banter. Oh, wait 19 days and then we'll get an explanation for it. It's absolutely ridiculous. I remember with Christie when he got sent off at Livingston, if I'm correct, on that carpet.
Yeah, Livingston, yeah.
And it was a red card, in fairness. He put the entire foot down on his shin. Willie, was it Collum or was it Clancy? One of the bastards anyway. Had the card out up as high as it could be before that boy done his bicycle flip. Yeah, I mean, but for mine, we don't get those decisions. They go against us, and I'm happy enough to say Christie's was a red card. And I'm happy enough to say, you know, he should have done that ban. There was no reason for him to be banned under any circumstances for the Glasgow Derby. That wasn't an assault. It wasn't savage or whatever the hell they used, whatever word they used to describe that. And Morelos should have been sent down for 4 or 5.
Well, here it is. It's just the Scottish, like, fucking, it's the SFA just constantly just using the Freemason fucking power to like try and stop things happening for Celtic, whether it's either suspending a player or fucking a player or whatever else they can do. That's pretty much all it is. So you know that, and I know that.
No, that's absolutely. It's Operation Stop the 10, and it's in hyperdrive. Now, let's talk about something going back to the Kilmarnock game. Obviously, after the match, Kris Boyd came out there and started questioning Lee Griffiths' well, his mental health, basically, well, alluding to it. He didn't come out in as many words and call him names, but talking about how many games he's missed, we all know the reason he's missed those games. I think that he's a strong man to come out there and to admit to everyone, look, I've got some problems. I need time away from the game. And to come out there and to be like such an ass about things like Kris Boyd, how the hell does Sky have people like this on their books?
Because when you look at the likes of Sky, the majority of Sky's team are all Huns, basically. So they are on the Sky Sports team, because you've got like Charlie Nichols, like that's probably the only Celtic one. But Charlie Nichols is a bellend as well, so he is.
Oh, yes. Him and friggin' Andy Walker, God almighty. Even, and it pains me to say this because I loved Chris Commons as a player, but I hate him as a pundit. Yeah, I mean, and writing in the Daily fucking Mail, man, serious. What are you doing, bro? Why don't you just print your friggin' print your thoughts on like a Nazi leaflet and hand it out to people, you know? Absolutely ridiculous. I hate that paper. Anyway.
It's the same as the Daily Hun.
It is. Yeah, but the one thing is with the Daily Hun, like the record, it's just a shambles. Did you see? I think it was yesterday. It came up on my news feed. It was the face palm of the day that Michael Gannon come out and said that they should scrap the January transfer window. Fucking mother of bleeding Jesus! What the? Just Sevco can't afford to buy players. Scrap the window. Celtic,
just scrap the window because we can't afford to spend any money on anything. So yeah, just scrap the window. We don't need it.
No, apparently he's an Aberdeen fan. You know what I mean? Yeah, Aberdeen fan with fingers raised. You know what I mean? Like bullshit. He's a absolute scumbag. He's a super, that boy. I swear to God. Anyway, with for starters, just here on the pod, we're not, advocating the scrapping of the window just because Sevco is skint. You know what I mean? Get on to our own window, which has been quiet-ish, but at the same time, Celtic always do our business very late in the window. We're all out there on social media saying, come on, get these boys in so we can see them training in Dubai. We know that's a fucking dream. Law's not going to spend straight up. I won't blame him for the Soro transfer taking so long because obviously, he needed to get the work permit and this smoke and mirrors bullshit that we get with agents and managers, particularly agents, really. I think the manager over there at Benai Yehuda or whatever they're called, I think he's been quite good with it. But the agents, they're fucking leeches. I hate the bastards.
Oh yeah, the side he was playing for in Israel, he played really good. Like he is an absolute bull. So he is. He reminds me of like players like Roy Keane used to be back in the '90s. So he's a very strong player. Like he can push the ball around and he can hold the ball up, and he's very powerful for his age, for a player that's only like 21 or 22.
Yeah. Oh, look, man. Getting a little bit off topic. Do you ever remember that time when I think it was Alfy Haaland, like what's his name, Roy Keane got knocked down and Alfy Haaland laughed at him. Next minute,
Man City against Man City. Yeah.
There's your ACL. There's your career done, boy.
Yeah,
he was right. Hey, funny enough, do you remember what Roy Keane's first ever Celtic game was? This is a bad one. I'll give you a hint.
I was at his debut. I just can't remember. It was a while back.
Okay, we've drawn them in the Scottish Cup, and it was in the Scottish Cup.
Oh, Clyde.
Yes. Okay, so it's the revenge mission, bringing up old Roy. I don't think we've played them since, and we certainly haven't played them in the Scottish Cup. So it's a very winnable tie, but of course the banana skin element's been attached to it by a little bit of history, but just getting that one in there. Now, we'll go back one point here and just talk a little bit about Edouard. He's now got 20 goals for the season after something like, well, there's 22 games that we've played, but I think he's only played about 18. I think 17 starts and that sub appearance on Saturday. How many do you think he can score this season?
How many do I think he's going to finish up with?
Yeah.
I'd safely say that he's going to be on par with like about 40.
Yeah. Well, the one thing is if he keeps continuing his form the way it is, it's basically a goal a game or more. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, he's as well as this. I mean, the second goal for mine was just a piece of brilliance. You see him, he gets the ball. There's not much doing. You're on the edge of the 18. Takes it a little bit wide. Do you think that's going to give the keeper the advantage with narrowing the angle? And then just slots it. It's like, you can't teach that. You're born with that sort of skill. And then you have a look at the finishing school that he went through, going through PSG. No mugs get into the PSG academy.
Oh no, without a doubt, PSG's like one of the like top academies that's out there. Like you could speak of the scumbags that are Ajax too. They have a great academy, but we won't because they're scum.
No, never a true word said, man. Look, put it this way. We were just quick chat about it before. Apparently, he's been linked with Monaco. Clubs come out there and said, "No, that's all crap." We're going to see over the next couple of days desperate, desperate attempts at trying to get French Eddie off Celtic's books, because the way I look at it is this: if Edouard plays every game between now and the summer, we win the league, we likely win the treble, and it's flip a coin in Europe. You never know what's going to happen there. But I mean, at the end of the day, Eddie in Europe, Eddie in the cup games, Eddie in the league. He's too much class. And he's a player that can turn a game like we saw in 5 minutes. It went from being an absolute wrestle with Ross County to how long's left in the game. What's it going to finish as?
To me, Edouard's just a class on his own. Like he's came on like leaps and bounds with Celtic. So he has, like people were talking about he can't hold up the ball. He's not scoring headers and everything. I think in the last like year and a half, Eddie has improved his game overall, like holding up the ball, attempting on headers and everything. I think he's like way, way like out there. That's why he's considered a world class striker now. Everyone else.
Yeah, well, have a look at it in the three stints that we've had with Eddie. When he came on loan, he was a bench player. Obviously, he was behind Musa and Lee.
Yeah.
Obviously, he got that magnificent goal against the Nuco when we were a player down and winning it.
Oh yeah.
I close my eyes, I can see it soaring past them, but didn't shut.
I remember being there live and direct, watching it going in.
Went nuts, but then we saw we saw his worth, and of course we bought him. Then in his second year, obviously Musa's away. Griffiths had his issues with his mental health, and the entire burden was heaped upon him. I don't think he adapted to it too well in the early stages. There was a hell of a lot of expectation. We've paid £9 million for you, bud. You're our record signing of all time. We're expecting goals just to flow. The one thing is, if you remember back to like the first couple of months of last year, or last season, I should say, we were struggling across the board. All we were ever doing was passing the ball on the back line, lumping it forward, then back, lots of possession, but no actual emphasis with it. And then on the end of that, you've got Eddie, who had to do everything up front. And obviously, he struggled a bit. But like you said, he's come along in leaps and bounds. He's learnt the Scottish game as well. Like you were saying with holding the ball up, he gets the ball back to goal if he gets the ball running onto the ball. He's seamless now. He's in the trenches. He does the fighting. There were people who were saying he was a little bit lazy once upon a time. Absolutely not now. He's full of graft, and you've got to remember the boy's just after 20. When he's 21, 22 years old, he's a baby.
Yeah, he just became 22, like his numbers. So he did and the things he has done as a 22-year-old for a big club like Celtic are amazing.
Yeah, most players won't have that sort of class, when they're 27, 28. He's already developed it. Now, like you were saying, he's coming up to being a player that's going to be roundly regarded all across the continent, let alone north or south of the border, as a world-class player. And, I can't see Eddie leaving Celtic this January. For the simple reason that there's so much to win, and any club that comes knocking knows full well we're in Europe. We're not selling our best player while we're still in Europe. But
Yeah,
we're
not
going
happening.
to get deluged with offers, absolutely deluged with them. If there's any way that we could break the bank and get him on a long-term deal to stay at Celtic, Jesus Christ, we could mow down all their records and destroy the old Co's tainted history.
Oh yeah, like if there's a way like to get Eddie just completely signed up, like it has to be done because likes of Barcelona, like in the summer, are going to be looking at him and everyone like that, like big clubs like that. And as we see when we have like great talent like that, it usually disappears, like with Big Virgil, you know.
Oh, yeah, but this is the thing. Next year, just say it's like this: we get to the end of the year. Okay, we win the league, regardless of what happens in the other competitions. 9 in a row is there. In come the big bids, but we've got the 10 in a row, and we've still got 2 years on his contract. You know, I say you must run down the contract an extra year. Try and win the 10. Sell him after that. You know what I mean? He's at no stage agitated for a move away from the club. He said, I'm at a big club. I'm happy playing my football. I'm on a long-term contract. Very professional lad, very humble. But obviously what the board's going to be looking at, okay, if he comes into the last year of his contract, oh, we could lose him for nothing, blah, blah, blah. That's bullshit. You've got a whole summer to sell him, you know, after the 10's done.
I think the thing is, like, that everyone sees with Edouard is he loves playing at the club. He loves how adored he is by the fans, and it takes a lot for a player to leave a club when you have so much adoration by your own fans.
Yeah, he's adored. That's definitely the truth. Let's talk about point 5 we've got here with Klimala and Soro, and do we need more? With Polish Paddy, obviously, he's been bought with the likes of we're going to bet him down, get 6 months out of him, see what happens. If Eddie is on his way, we know if we've got our ready-made replacement, or are we going to need to spend a significant amount of any prospective transfer on a replacement? I'm really looking forward to seeing this boy get a couple of starts. We've got 3 games in the next 10 days, or maybe 9 days now. I'm very, very interested to see how many minutes he gets and what he can do. I hope he can get himself going and scoring and really add that extra emphasis to our striking line where we have Griffiths, we have Polish Paddy, we've got Edouard, we've got those options. We've seen across town that when Alfy doesn't play for them, they don't win.
The thing I see with Polish Paddy, and I don't understand, is why he hasn't got game time yet. Because he's completely match fit, you know, and I just don't understand why he hasn't got more game time. But from what I see, and like his training and everything like that, I can see him knocking in goals left, right, and center.
Yeah, I'm absolutely the same. Look, I understand he came on late to get his debut in the light, but I want to see him start a match. I want to see what we can get out of this boy. And, you know, as well as that, we've got some midweek games coming up and the like. And, you know, we've got a logjam of fixtures, really. I've got it up here, so I don't guess and and too much as I love to do. But it all starts it all starts away to St Johnstone, obviously. And then we've got, is it Hamilton and Motherwell from memory? Here we go. So St Johnstone versus Celtic. Then we've got Hamilton away on that awful plastic pitch. And then we've got Motherwell away on, which is always a banana skin. It's a bastard of a match when you go
on a Wednesday, yeah, an evening game.
Yeah, this is the other thing as well. Getting those games, I think St Johnstone away in the evening is going to be the bigger problem because at the end of the day, it's going to be freezing freaking cold up there. But this is the thing. Will we see Polish Paddy maybe get the Sunday game against Hamilton? Like, for starters, do you really want to risk like Edouard on that bloody concrete surface? And like when he's so important to our cause, it's going to be interesting to see. On the flip side, the Shame have Ross County. Again, Ross County played a bloody good game of football against Celtic on Saturday. So that's not 3 points secured for the Newco under any circumstances.
No.
Then they're home to Aberdeen. Aberdeen, you'd see what's his name? Derek McInnes was getting booed and all the like. He said, come out in the press, said he's gutted at the way he's been treated by his own fans. He needs to come back and hit back hard. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens there. And then, well, everyone's favourite club has a game against, where the hell did Sevco go? Oh, Hibernian. Now, Hibernian got humped 6-1 by the Shanghai. When was it? Earlier in the first round of the season, or the first rounds of the season. It was at 2-1, then they had a player sent off, then Rangers knocked them in for fun against 10 men. An 11-man Hibernian, I reckon, have been sitting there waiting for Sevco on this one. They've had this fixture with a circle around it on the calendar. So you have a look at it. Whilst Rangers are at home, they've got 2 extremely difficult games and Ross County, who, again, played very, very well against us. So even though they're at home, I believe they've got a harder run in this next 10 days.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Scum's fixtures. It doesn't really come up too fast on my phone because I don't be looking at it much. But they got Ross County, they got Aberdeen, and then they got Hibernian. They got Hibernian on a Wednesday night at home. And Hibs are, as you said, are going to be gunning to try and beat them after that heavy defeat, at the start of the season.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be odd for young and old. If you say that it was the first time you've ever watched the Zombies play a game on the weekend, well, you should be up for watching that one. We could.
I'll definitely watch the Highbees and that one, especially how close this title race is at right now.
Oh, it's bloody exciting, isn't it? Well, you have a look at it. They still haven't named when Sevco are going to play their game against St Johnstone. They've got a home tie against St Johnstone. It's a game that you'd expect them to win. But I honestly believe the SFA is waiting to see if they go through in Europe, and then they're going to position the game in the tie so it doesn't disadvantage them. If it was us, they would have. Well, if it was us, they just would have made us play it at the same time.
The Huns their tie is against Braga on the 20th.
Yes,
that's when they play. They play Livingston on the 15th, and then they've got Kilmarnock on the 12th. Hamilton, Hibs, Aberdeen, Ross County. I'd like to see Ross County give them an upset.
Me too. Look, boss, talking about Soro, okay, when you think of it now, we've got ourselves like the little bull that he's been dubbed by Lenny, a player that's going to come into the midfield and strengthen that area. Also, obviously, with Polish Paddy up front. Do you believe that we're going to need to get ourselves another defender, or are you happy? There's talking about a defender and maybe a replacement for Sinclair, another winger. What would your preference be, if any?
I'd like a defender and another winger. So I'd like 2 more signings at least. The thing with the signing right now, as we said, Celtic always bring it down to the end, always down to the last minute. We definitely need another defender, and we definitely need another winger, without a doubt, 100%.
Okay, for mine, look, we've lost a bit of depth on the wings, but I still think that we're top heavy with wingers.
Yeah.
When Elyounoussi comes back, you hope he's going to command that spot. Marian Chaved, we still don't see him. The one thing is at the back, now that Ayer's out injured and the like, we've got Benkovic. Benkovic is still a bomb scare to me. Not Benkovic, sorry, Simonovic. But talking Benkovic, I've seen today floating around in the papers and in the blogs that there's talk about Benkovic coming back to Celtic. Now, if that deal can be sorted out, then for Christ's sake, get it done. Even if it's another loan, even if it's a 6-month loan. Benkovic isn't playing there at Leicester, and he would slot seamlessly into our back line.
Oh, 100%. Him and Simo, together were a big, massive concrete wall back there. So they played amazing. They're both Croatians, so they know exactly what's up. So they do.
Yeah, and well, the one thing is obviously with Christopher Julian, he's just been getting better and better. He's an absolute wall. I saw in that first half he had a glorious chance to actually score. Obviously, he's not on the books to score goals, but hit the header straight at the Ross County keeper, where he probably could have done a little bit better. But I'd love to see Benkovic come back, even if it's just a 6 month loan. And as for the wing spot, there's talk about Bristol City. There's a player there, a Swedish lad. I think it's Nielsen or something. The thing is, though, Bristol City have come out this morning and said that it's a hands-off. I don't know. Do you think of like giving Jamesy time on the left and actually finally playing Marian Shaved? Or
I'd like to see Shaved come in. Like I'm kind of getting really a bit pissed off with the fact that Shaved's not being played. Like he's another player that we paid like nearly like 3 million for, and yet we're getting no fucking comeback from it.
Yeah, there's one thing. You've got to ask yourself who made these signings: the Marvin Compers, the Marian Shaveds, the Bayos. You know what I mean? Like, we bought them because they've got impressive fucking goal numbers and the like. Well, obviously not with Comper, but the facts are that we've spent all this money on players that have played a handful of games between them. Now it's either they've got to go out and loan and get some game time, or they've got to be thrown into the battle.
I honestly think that Shaved needs to be thrown back into the battle. Like he looked amazing in Dubai, like watching him in training and stuff like that on Celtic TV. He looked like on fire. Like they were running drills on him left, right, and center.
I was at in Estonia for the Nomi Kalju game. I watched him score there. He was all over the place. He looked fantastic. So I don't know what's happened between mid-season and or pre-season, well, the summer coming up to the start of the premiership, but he's fallen out of favour. It's he's well behind it now. All the same, this is the other thing. We may well see a couple of Celtic players go out on loan between now and the end of the window. We might see a few come in. Again, it would be good to see us go for a winger. One of the opportunities that we do have with this Bristol fella, because he's coming up to the end of his contract, we could always buy him and loan him back for 6 months. The same thing we did with Shaved. So, like I said, we have players on the books. Players like Arzani, Elyounoussi coming back, players like Shaved, players like Mikey Johnson play out in the wing as well. I mean, maybe not a starting player, but definitely a super sub.
It's crazy. Like we've got Gutman and we've got what's the other guy's name? I can't think of it. Yeah, Manny Perez. Like, what's going on with them? Oh, this is the second season that these guys have been out on loan. Like, come on.
Yeah, honestly, look, if you read video cells, and I do, they've been talking for a long time that there's problems with the paperwork. Basically, that they can't get work permits, and the thing is, neither of them are being capped by the United States, and neither of them have European passports. So, since coming up to 2 days' time, it's bye UK anyway. They're out of the EU, but it comes down to a working permit issue, possibly. Britain has quite strict laws with this, so it's going to be interesting to see if he ever plays for Celtic.
I think then in the case of that, where we can't get these players to put on the famous green and white and play for us like professionally, I think we need to just sell them to the teams that they're playing with in America and make money off them.
Yeah, well, we certainly can't piss wages down the toilet, looking for players.
And that's what we are doing right now. Like at Celtic, we are absolutely pissing money away like no tomorrow.
I agree. Apparently, like £60 million or something like that's being spent on everyone from Law down to the ball boys. And for £60 million, like Christ Almighty, you're talking about. Look what Sevco have done with 30 or 40. You know what I mean? Like they can't turn a profit, sure, but they've managed to get out of their group in Europe. They're keeping up with us. Hell, they beat us at Celtic Park, and they've done that on the back of a a shitload of Bosmans and, journeymen and the like. We're pissing money up the wall. We're not getting value for money. Our squad's still bloated. There's a variety of people you can blame for that. Do you blame Rogers for a lot of his nonsensical signings, like fucking Ibui Kawasai? Fuck me, there's another £3 million what the hell did we get from that? Nothing. Yeah, I mean,
this is the thing with all these type players that get signed and insane money is being spent, and no one's getting any value out of any of these buys. Yeah. Or anything like that. And it's costing Celtic a lot of money.
Instead of speculating on 5 players, buy 2. You know what I mean? Because you add up that 2 million here, that 3 million there, that 3.5 million there. Go out and buy someone for 7. You know what I mean? Look what happened when we bought Julien. Julien, we come out there for £7 million. The boy is bossing the SPFL. Go out there and buy someone who walks into your team. You know what I mean? Not someone that... These fucking projects, we've got enough of them, mate. It's called a development team. Have a look at
that's the problem. And I think we've both agreed on this a lot. Is we're not a team to just constantly be doing development fucking shit. We need players to come in and hit the ground fucking running.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you have a look at all the players that we've signed in the last transfer window who haven't played. Luke O'Connell hasn't played. Was it Leo Connor from Ireland as well? He hasn't played.
And John, then there's the young black kid as well from Ireland.
Alfy, or I can't pronounce his name. Okay, but that's 3 of them straight away. Boom, haven't even kicked a ball. Okay, and it's wonderful to have. At the same time, we got Frimpong on the cheap, so we speculated on 4 development players. We got 1 right. But it's not good enough. We've got to have players that come into the team, make the team better from the get-go. It's one thing to sign for your academy, it's another thing to sign for your first team. And it was good to see Wee Karamoko get a kickabout on the weekend. Very happy to see that. But we're 18 months away from the 10 in a row. If there's ever a time to spend on absolute tried and tested quality, it is now.
Oh, 100%. I totally agree with you. And I think we've always agreed, even from the first time we've ever talked on a podcast, that Celtic needs to really stop wasting money on development players. We need seasoned veterans to come in here and just put on the famous green and white and just go out there and fucking dominate.
Exactly. Look, put it this way. Across the way, if you remember back to Pedro, Rangers went out and bought something like 11 players. Your Carlos Peñas, your Eduardo Herreras. Who else was there? There was that. Was it Falcio or something like that? Some dickhead from Portugal. They were coming from here, there, the other, the Galacticos, and out of all of them were flops. Even Candice, and he went for £250,000. The only one who actually worked out being El Guffalo. Now, at the end of the day, when he doesn't play for Rangers, they are just run-of-the-mill SPFL team. When he does play for Rangers, he's their go-to man. He manages to get them goals. I hate the bastard, but he scores a lot of goals.
He does. He has 28 so far this season, but the thing is, he can't do shit when he's playing against us. He fucking shits his pants, and I love it. I love watching him nearly have a fucking heart failure because he can't score against Celtic.
Well, put it this way: if there was, what would you price him as he's worth? Obviously, Rangers think he's worth 40 million or fucking something, or the Daily Record does.
There's no way he's worth 40 fucking million. I'd price him out maybe about 15, 20 million, maybe. But then it depends who's going to fucking buy him as well. So it does.
Oh, apparently Barcelona and Sevilla have been linked with him. So, but forgive the chuckles.
I don't think Barcelona would want that fucking ball bag. I couldn't see it.
No, they're not going to bring someone from that club. So look, the thing is, his disciplinary record remains something to behold. The one thing about this year, and I've seen it on quite a few of the Celtic blogs, people have said, The difference between Morelos's disciplinary record last year and this year is that he's not getting booked for his fouls this year. He's still committing the fouls. He's still treading on people's feet. He's still carrying on like a fucking a class clown. But the referees are overlooking it. The judiciary, the disciplinary panels are overlooking it. Yeah, I mean, he hasn't cleaned up his act. He's just getting away with stuff.
Yeah, that's the other factor. And if you owned a team, would you really want a player that's just constantly getting disciplinary action? Like go into the La Liga and you get a fine in the La Liga and it ain't cheap.
Oh, like, don't worry about that. You if he was to go to La Liga, carry on the way he's carrying on for Rangers, he'd get a red card within 15, 20 minutes. He'd come back from that ban, get another one. Then if after the third one, they'll send you down for 6-8 weeks over there. If you're persistently fouling, you're persistently being with unprofessional sporting contact, mate, they're going to like have a sit down in the sunshine, bud. You know, watch it on TV. He gets away, no, but really, he gets away with everything because he's playing for Rangers. You won't get that protection in the Bundesliga, in Liga, in the Serie A, in La Liga, or the English Premier League, especially now that they've got VAR. Talk about him going to a league where you've got VAR. You know, I mean, as soon as
he'd be gone in probably like 3 minutes of the kick of the ball, he'd probably be fucking sent off.
Yeah, exactly. This is the thing. And it's the one thing that the Daily Record and the like that they're not bringing up. If he goes to one of these leagues which has the VAR, they're going to be like, the player that gets fouled is going to go up and say, "Look, he just trod on my foot. He just elbowed me. He just did this. He just did that." They have a look. They ring upstairs. Boom. Here's your ticket, son. Off you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no hiding from the VAR. You know, I mean, it's 360 degrees. They see everything now. So I reckon that knocks plenty off his value. I wouldn't be surprised in the last days of the window if a team comes in and tests Sevco with a £10 million offer, because they've got it in their accounts, stated in their accounts that they're 10 million short. As well as this,
they're 10 million short.
That's what the cookbook that they call accountancy says. But if if they get this,
who's their accountant? Stevie Wonder?
Oh, Mickey Mouse, mate. You're in California. He's down the road from you.
He's up the road from me.
He's up the road. You're in San Diego. True story. Look, bro. The facts of the matter are. Yeah, I mean, if a team came in and tested them at 10, because you've got to remember, Ashley's there waiting for him for this court date to be settled, where his many millions of pounds will be doled out. And as well as that, he's got a block on Sevco having a new top next year, which is to say that, like, the Huns are going to be running around in bibs. No, but seriously, they'll be out there in fucking wife beaters or something like that.
Where it'll just say Govan scum on it.
Yeah, they'll get a big black text there and they'll write Rangers on the front of them or something like that. No branding. Yeah, imagine it that way. It's Primark FC, mate. Seriously, these fucking bastards. I can't believe that. You know, I can't believe they're allowed to survive. I still can't believe that in 2012, we've got 276 bloody creditors or something. Just let them off and like put them in the fucking league. Knock that bastard place down and build a Tesco there. Give everyone. Who knows? Next time round, maybe it'll happen. Anyway, getting our obsession on for a little bit of a giggle. Hearts giving us control in the title race. This is a huge moment in this title race. It's
like Christmas all over again.
It is.
It really was.
Look, I was saying to some friends privately, like basically when Christie missed that penalty, that could be the change in the title race. We go one year, hold on, we go 8 clear of them. We set sail for 9 in a row. They came back, put 2 past us and the like, and it was what it was. It was a huge moment, that miss. But as it is now that they've stuffed this up, old Liam Boyce, Boyce, he's put us back in the game.
Boise boy from the Falls Road in West Belfast, the former Cliftonville player. Happy days.
Chuck our but I tell you what, everyone will be having a good laugh at him. But I'm sure they don't see the irony. Now, getting on to this. Do you think the Zombies will buy or sell? We've already spoken about, we hope that we're going to bring in a few more faces. They can't afford to buy. They probably need to sell. But them doing what they need to do isn't always what they do. The facts of the matter are they need reinforcements. The squad versus squad over 38 games, I believe that we've got not just the team but the squad to win the SPFL, and we've got our noses ahead. Do you think that they'll go and put their holding company into further distress by buying? Look what they did with fucking Ryan Kent, mate. Yeah,
eventually, fucking Red Cross is going to have to come in and save them if they put their fucking their whatever fucking holding company they have. I think they're probably going to sell players, possibly.
It's going to buy them.
Money together.
Look, put it this way. They were talking about that Glenn Camera, who played like an absolute passenger yesterday. They were talking about Juventus wanted him for 20 million or something. Or they were on 20 million and they were going to sell him to Juve. Exactly. Then there
like fairy tales from Govan.
Yeah, Christ. Then there's Borna Barisic. They're talking about. I think Napoli wanted him. They said, yeah, well, give us 10 and you can have him. He said. Then they said, off you go. So they could probably.
Napoli basically told him to go fuck himself.
Yes, but that's the thing. You could probably, if they come up there and they said, okay, 4-5 million with some add-ons, yeah, that deal would already be done. With Camera, I honestly believe that's just paper talk. He's fucking nothing of a player. You know, they bought him for £50,000 and they're talking about him being worth fucking the sky, the moon, and the stars. There, seriously.
It's like what they say about Ryan Kent. For one, he's a fucking ball bag, and for two, they hype him up like he's fucking the next Ronaldo. He's a piece of fucking shit with a bowl haircut.
Oh, crap. What the fuck's going on with that haircut and that goatee? This guy, he's got a face that just makes you want to headbutt the teeth.
Maybe he just hit puberty.
Oh, we shouldn't tease him then. Put it this way: the man who came to the Rangers when he had 10 goals in 111 games or something stupid like that in his prior career. He's not prolific. You have a look at the goal that he scored yesterday. It was a good goal, but then you have a look in the first couple of minutes of the game. He was played in. He's one-on-one. Well, he had a defender on him, but one-on-one with the keeper, kicked it into row K. He scores that goal. They're in control of the game from the first few minutes, and the title goes with the pendulum swings the other way. Can't be that wasteful. That Joe Aribo as well. He had a beautiful chance earlier on. He wasted that. I
don't think Joe Aribo, I don't rate him whatsoever. I think he wouldn't score the fucking whorehouse with an unlimited credit card.
He's hit and miss. Sometimes he has a good game, sometimes he doesn't. But this is the one thing I remember they were linking us with fucking Joe Aribo, and we said no. You know,
we said we're good. We're good.
He's get out of the fucking development team, mate. Seriously, we've got lots better players than him. Anyway. Getting on to, we've talked about that, the next 10 games, we've talked about those. Slippy as a choker. Now, this is just one thing. My birthday is the 29th of December, so I've suffered consecutive defeats on my birthday.
Yeah.
Last couple of years been fucked. But
yeah,
that's done on both of them. Remember when Rangers went equal top when we had a game in hand? And then this time when they've got to within 2 points of us with the game in hand themselves, okay? Against Kilmarnock, I believe it was. They went there. Jordan Jones scored, even though he was on a pre-contract at Sevco.
Yeah.
And they threw away their advantage that they'd earned hard in December, like that one game later. This time, it took them 2 games to fuck it, but they've done it as well. Slippy's come out there and thrown all of his players under a bus. Said he's had 8 passengers that they're, Rangers were weren't recognisable and blah blah blah. At the end of the day,
it was hilarious to listen to him spout shite after the game. So it was absolutely just majestic. Just watching it, you just sit down with a pint and you just laughing your whole off.
Well, this is the one thing, as well as this, he's come out there and he start talking about Celtic. So, they call us obsessed, but here comes Gerard to explain what's going on with his team and why they've lost. And he said, Celtic were expecting us to blink and we've blinked. Why on earth would you give us a pat on the back like that? He's got one eye on Celtic and he doesn't have one eye on the opposition. You've got to look at it. The manager, he might have signed on for extended terms and this, that, the other. Doesn't mean a damn thing. He still has never won a trophy as a manager. He's still never won the league as either a player or a manager. He's fucking mince, and he's going to be found out in the run-in.
Oh, it's like what is that cup that they talk about?
Petrofac or something. Or, the one
the plastic cup that they won or something.
Whatever. Jesus Christ. Yeah, add another fucking star to you. God.
Ceramics, all the ceramics.
In the Ramsdens, man. Rafe beat them. I still remember that. Fucking getting back in the day, I was actually in Argentina and I turned on and people were talking, oh, fuck, you watching the Ramsdens? You watching the Ramsdens? It was Rafe versus Sevco. And I turned it on, I got stream on YouTube, and I remember when I think it's John Baird's his name, and he scored the goal. I went out of my fucking face. I was up and straight. And it was the old hate. I could feel it pumping through my body again.
just pure venom. Just
that's it. It's like your misery. It's there. I can touch it. I want to play it. I want to paint my walls with it. Fuck you. But, but it's been so long, because after they died, between then and that Wii Cup final, I hadn't seen any game of fucking significance for them, and them watching them lose was just fucking funny.
I think just any time to watch them lose when they're blowing smoke up their own arse and they're basically saying they're going to win a European Cup when they can't even win the fucking SPL. But it's just priceless. So it is hard to put them away. So handy yesterday. I don't think Rangers were even in the fight with Hearts yesterday. It was a decent game of football, but I thought Hearts dominated them, so I did.
Well, it's certainly ended up that way, mate. Look, let's put it this way, and we'll wrap things up. It's now Celtics to lose, in my opinion. For starters, we've got one game less, which is, it's a godsend for us because we're still in Europe, we're still in the Scottish Cup. They've got the same amount of fixtures plus one that we do. So it's not like they're out of the Cup yet. I'm fully expecting them to get through Hamilton. I'm expecting us to get through Clyde. But European football, Braga are a very handy team. Copenhagen, as we've seen, like last time we played them, they got past us, are a very handy team as well. It's in Europe and domestically, we've got a battle on our hands. But the one that we all want more than anything else desperately is that 9 in a row. And I honestly believe that Neil Lennon is going to he's going to get into that room. He's going to tell the boys in the dressing room between now, I believe it's the 15th of March, we've got to win everything at home. Everything in Scotland. We've got to win every single one of those games, then go to Ibrox and then do the bastards again. We do that, their fucking shitty results will pile up along the way. Then we won 10 straight or something like that. Before we lost to, who is that scumbag club? Cluj. And we won something like 8 straight in the league or something until we lost to Sevco. We've got to put on another one of those runs where we just knock off result after result after result after result.
I don't think we have much to worry with, and I reckon we put them bastards away in March, and God willing, I'll probably be up in Los Angeles watching it because they're going to have a golfing tournament and stuff like that, and a big old party and a shindig at the Hilton in Burbank in California. So
I'll be coming up to Paddy's Day as well, a couple of days before. It'd be good to be up in
there. So it'll be a right fucking party. But I reckon Celtic are going to do it. They haven't. It's, as you said, it's in Celtic's hands now. It's not in the Huns' hands anymore. It left yesterday on a fucking bus in Edinburgh, and that's it. Bye fucking Sefco.
Yeah, well, we are provisionally 2 points clear of the shame, but it only takes 1 point. Hey, it only takes one goal more, as those of you who remember 2004, or 2003, should say. You can lose it by the barest of margins. And Neil Lennon, I think he's going to take the bit between the teeth. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Some of the points we talked about, when we're going to see Polish Paddy. Are we going to see another couple of players come in? If Neil Lennon actually wants a player, I believe now's the time to go knock on Peter Law's door and come in there and actually demand it. Come on, man. Yeah, I mean, I lose this year because I didn't have a winger, I didn't have an extra defender. It's not acceptable. The fans won't accept it, and you've got to say as well, if we don't win this league for lack of investment, then Peter Law's got to go.
Oh yeah, I'm not a fan of Peter Law. Well, never have, never will be. It'll definitely be chopping block if we go like with this historic run that we're on, and it gets knocked on the head by the Huns. There's gonna be World War II in Glasgow.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be on for fucking young and old. Put it this way, big man, we need to invest in some key areas. I'd love to see Benkovic come back on the wing. Well, again, I'd love to see Shabed play more than us see us go buy another winger who might be a good player in the future. We'll see what happens. But anything else you want to bring up, big man?
Oh, just great chatting to you as always. It's always good having a good banter. And getting, to talk about the boys. I reckon that we'll put them away pretty handy. I think we'll bury them in the shit pot in March, and it'll be a really happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, I couldn't hope for more. Anyway, my name's Gavin on behalf of our absent brothers, who will hopefully be back on in the next couple of pods that we'll be doing. And Damien, thanks for listening. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.